the Daily Ramble podcast.
Hello everyone, welcome to Claret and Booze. My name's Nick. This is an emergency Daily Ramble. Wasn't planning on doing one today, but news has just broken that Niklas Fullkrug is broken. We think. We don't know. We're going to go in to talk about it. What the report goes on to say. As always, if you are new to this channel, please subscribe. And don't forget, please drop a like on the video because it does really help us. Tells YouTube to share it around. But yes, so reports coming out of Germany are saying that the player has broken down in training 15 minutes into a training session, suspected Achilles injury, which is potentially catastrophic. You know, you could be looking at up to a year out if it's bad. We don't know. Nobody's assessed the severity of it. But if he's been hooked out of a training session and sent home, you'd imagine it's not, he just rolled his ankle. So we'll have to wait and see what the official outcome is of that. But let's just talk about the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario for an Achilles style injury is a year out. He's 31. He's 31. He cost us 27 million. He's on 100 grand a week. It's always bad luck. We've had it before. We had it with Dean Ashton, who was far younger when he went away on international training. But I did highlight when we was linked with this player, the last 2 years aside, you're talking about an incredibly injury-prone player. Was it Werder Bremen, wasn't it, where he played? That's where Tim and the analysts know him from, Hans Gruber. When he first moved out there, he got an injury. He was out for a year. So it's not uncommon for this player to get injured. It's happened throughout his career. So let's hope it's not that bad. But if it is, and he is out for a year, that leaves, because don't forget, he's 31, but he's our youngest striker. You got Danny Ings and you got Antonio, who are both older than him. So what does this mean? What does this mean for West Ham if this is the case, if he is in fact injured? Because it is, look, anyone that watches a show, I wouldn't say I'm not the biggest fan of the player. I've got nothing against the player. I wasn't the biggest fan of the signing. I don't think it was. People go on about Duran, too risky getting Duran. No. This is a risk. Paying 27 million for a player where there's no resale value at all on 100 grand a week with a bad fucking injury record. That is a risk. That's a risk. This is a risk that you take with a player of that age profile who's also an international and he's going to be flying around playing in these shitty games all season in the Nations League. So, like I said, hopefully it isn't the case. Hopefully he will be back. It will just be nothing and he'll be back in a couple of weeks or whatever it is. Or less than that. It will just be precautionary. But they're very specific. They said it is a suspected Achilles injury. You know? So like I said, it could be severe. So what does that mean for West Ham? Does that mean that we have to play with Antonio and Danny Ings for the rest of the season? Or is it going to be the case that Loppe has a little change around? Because what this could do, let's just say, for instance, that Fullkrug's going to be out for a month or something like that. Nothing too serious. What that does give Lopetegui the opportunity to do is to try and fit some players into that forward position that might be more suited in this new style. You could try Bowen up front. You could try Kudus. And do you know what? You could try Lucas Paqueta as well. Lucas Paqueta in the false nine, I still believe, would be fantastic. He's the biggest of the bunch. Holds the ball up very well. His link-up play is better than anyone else's. He loves playing under pressure. You know, he loves sort of buying fouls. He does. And if he gets into the right position, he will score. He's not super clinical, but in terms of being that kind of deep-lying, that sort of false nine player, he's decent in the air as well. I think that could work. So I do think we've got options. I don't think that we need to panic. I don't. Because what that does is if we take Bowen or Paqueta out of their positions, that opens up a space for Kudus to come in. That opens up a space for Somerville to come in. So as bad and as sad as this is, and it is potentially for Niklas Fullkrug, what this does is it gives opportunities to other players. This is a reason why we've got a squad. He has at least built a squad. Yes, we didn't go out and get that conventional, we didn't go out and get that striker that we wanted. You know, we didn't. But I do think that we've got some other players that maybe could do more than just do a job there. You don't know until. I know that Bowen didn't flourish when we played him as a centre forward under David Moyes, but that was a different type of football. That's when you need your forward to be a battering ram, someone to sort of get forward and you know, beat and fight 6'5" centre-backs. That is never going to be Jared Bowen's game. It's not. But if we're playing a patient game and Jared Bowen's standing off and you're giving him the ball to feet and he can turn and run at big 6'5" blokes, he's got the ability to beat those people. It could work. I don't know. Equally, if he's playing on the shoulder, he should do them for pace. So there is a chance that he could do that. Also, Kudus. I'm sure Kudus could do that. And I've already said Paqueta. So I do think we've got options. I don't think we're going to be relying on Danny Ings and Mikel Antonio, or at least I bloody hope we're not. But it does change things a little bit, doesn't it? It does. I'm really, really interested, and I'm quite excited to see what this means for the weekend when we face off against Fulham, because this is part of football. It's what happens. You do get injuries. So put the signing aside, whether I think it was a silly signing or not, whether he did have a bad injury record and whether it was a risk, it's irrelevant. We've signed a player, he's got injured. What are we going to do about it? Well, I think there's plenty that he can do about it with the squad that he's got, with this squad that we've assembled. I don't think it's an emergency. I really don't. Fullkrug wasn't ripping up any trees anyway yet. He may have, given game time and given time to grow into the team and stuff like that. But the fact is, I think we have got other players at the minute that might be more oven ready to work and click with this team. So it could get us going even quicker. It could do. It's like I said, it is sad for Fullkrug, and I do wish him well, and I hope it isn't serious, and I hope he's back soon. But the likelihood is, if it is an Achilles injury, John Egan, who we're just linked with, got injured at the London Stadium. Achilles injury, out for a year. It can be severe. It can be. If you get a rupture or something like that, it's bad, and it's going to be very difficult. You think, what then? So, what then for Niklas Fullkrug at 32? He's got to have a year out of football. Because you have, if it's a rupture or it's something that requires an operation, you're 12 weeks you're in a boot or something like that, and then there is a long period of rehabilitation before you can even think of kicking a ball again. So what's that going to do to him as a player? I'm not saying he's going to be finished, because he ain't old. He's 31, and he ain't blessed with tons of pace anyway. So it's not like he's going to be losing loads of pace through whatever injury this is. So he could come back. He could come back strong. We don't know. But you don't know. He's, like I said, he's 31. If there is an injury there, he will be 32 and have had a year out of football before he comes in and plays again. It's terrible. Terrible luck for him. Terrible luck for the club. But like I said to you, there should be some sort of risk assessment that goes along with these deals. Personally, like I said, if it was a case that he was 20, 21 years old and he got this injury, it would still be terrible, but you could be confident that there'd be a good chance that he could come back from this, build himself up, and he'd get back to the player that he was. Now, you're not too sure when they're kind of at this age profile. But let's all cross our fingers. Let's all hope that it isn't too serious. And let's hope that Lopetegui can get something else out of this squad if it is the worst case scenario. And we could go on to flourish anyway. We could. Like I said to you, one of those players could kind of grab that opportunity. It could be a Kudus, could be a Paqueta, could be a Bowen, and we could go from strength to strength, even though we've kind of hit this little hurdle. But bad news, sad news about Niklas Fullkrug. Let me know what your thoughts are in the description, and I'll speak to you all soon. Come on, your ones.